Okay, greetings pen pals. We have a little bit of a bonus video today. Not going to be talking about fountain pens per se. I'm going to be talking about the Lamy 2000 product line kind of as a whole. So a few months ago I did a video where I talked about this set that I got. So the bottom line is I had a Lamy 2000 fountain pen for years in medium. Great pen, love it a lot. Done a video on it, featured it in a few other videos, so you can check my channel if you want all the details about that particular fountain pen. But I saw this set online that was available at a really good price, so I picked up this set. So now I have a second Lamy 2000 fountain pen. The one I have is a medium, this one's an extra fine, so they kind of complement each other well. But this was a set with the ballpoint and the mechanical pencil. I did that video, and then I realized after thinking about it for a while that I'm just a couple of writing instruments short from having the whole family. So recently I acquired the Rollerball and the Multipen. So I really wanted to talk about the family as a whole now that the family's all together. So I thought that was definitely worth talking about. And I also in particular want to focus just a little bit on the Rollerball because there's a couple of interesting little upgrades that I think you can do to the Rollerball that are definitely worth considering. So to review here, let's talk, all of these pens are made out of Macrolon, which is a composite material. It's got a great feel to it. It's kind of hard to describe if you've never felt it. It's got it's got a bit of a texture to it. It's got a really unique kind of feel. They all feature this clip that's either this exact shape or a similar shape but a slightly different size. They are all spring-loaded with brushed steel, and they're really, really nice. All the pens feature, in one way or the other, sort of this nose cone slash section, either externally, like the ballpoint, or internally, like on the Rollerball and the fountain pen. And the way this section is made, again, made out of brushed steel, but the brushing on the steel and the brushing on the Macrolon meld into each other. So you do not even feel this joint or this change of material. It's machined down to that sort of level at all when you're touching it. So it's really, really, these are really, really well made writing instruments. So that's kind of all the stuff they have in common. Let's talk about the fountain pen firstly. So the fountain pen and the Rollerball, just to get it over with, are basically identical externally, like completely identical. Ends on the finials are identical, etc. The only difference, and they do this deliberately so you can tell the difference when they're in your pocket, is the fountain pen has a smooth top and the Rollerball has that little dimple there. So you have to look really closely, but that's really the only difference. They are the exact same size and shape. Otherwise. So on the fountain pen, again, pull to uncap, has these little clutch nubs here to clutch the pull cap. Some people find that a little bit annoying. I personally don't at all. Again, it has this smooth brushed aluminum, brushed steel section. 14 karat gold nib, great nib, piston filling fountain pen. The piston turning knob is actually here. You turn it here. I'll turn it a little bit so you can see it, but it does have ink in it. It kind of disappears when it's tightened down because that's how precise this is made. It does have an ink window here, a little bit hard to see, not the most functional ink window in the world. The pen, of course, does post and posts really, really well and writes great. We'll do writing samples on all these in a bit, but it is a piston filling fountain pen. Rollerball, again, exact same geometry as the fountain pen, same clutch nubs here. Posts as well. We'll get to some subtleties of the Rollerball in a minute, but you open up the back here, same place you would open up the piston turning knob, but this is to replace the Rollerball refill. So there you go. But that, the mechanical pencil has the lead size on top. This is 0.7 millimeters, so it has a 7 on the top. The pipe is non-retractable, so it's a fixed pipe. But again, you typical click it, push it in, click it, push it in. It is not an automatic feed or anything like that. It's a kind of a low-tech mechanical pencil. You pull off the cap to reveal an eraser. You pull out the eraser. We have the cleaning needle for the mechanism in case it could get jammed, and that is where your replacement lead would go. So again, fairly basic mechanical pencil, nothing super fancy at all. Same thing with the ballpoint, the very, very basic ballpoint. Again, click pen, ballpoint. One thing it does have, which some people may get a little bit bothered by. Personally, it doesn't bother me that much, but it might bother some people. It's a single spring on the mechanism. By that, there's only one spring in the pen, and that's down here, and that's what drives the refill in and out. You could tell it only has one spring because when the pen is extended, the button is kind of loose. There's no spring left in the button because there isn't a second spring here to drive the button. Compare that with this pen, which is a Rotring 600 ballpoint. You push it, it extends from the spring down here, but then notice there's still spring in the button because there's a second spring up here to drive the button. It's a small little detail. Typically better clickable ballpoints have the two springs. Typically, but not always. This is one of these examples where it only has one spring. So some people may get a little disappointed about that. I personally, like I said, it doesn't bother me at all. The Multipen is very much like the Ballpoint, except it's a 4-color Multipen. The way the 4 colors of the Multipen work is this is the only Lamy pen that uses a standard refill. It uses what's called a D1 refill, which is pretty much the most standard refill for multi-pens. It's these thin little refills. Lots of manufacturers make them. They come in all sorts of different colors and widths and stuff, which is nice, but it is a standard refill. So the way it works is it's sort of gravity selective. So if you have the red indicator up and push it, the red refill will come out. If you have the blue will come out. If you have the green will come out, and the green will come out. And for the black, you need to have the clip up, and then the black will come out. So it's 4 colors with 4 different indicators. It works well, etc. But like I said, it's the only one of the bunch that uses sort of a standard refill. Talking about refills, it's a good segue here. We go back to the regular ballpoint. Normally, this would use a proprietary Lamy ballpoint refill. I don't actually even have one of those. Lamy proprietary refills for ballpoints and rollerballs are a little bit expensive, a little bit hard to get, and they're good, they're okay, they're not the greatest. So the seller of this threw in was this 3D printed adapter, which essentially, if you notice here, it says M16 to D1. So an M16 is the Lamy proprietary ballpoint refill. D1 is the standard multi-pen refill that we just talked about. This allows you to take, in this case, it's a Monteverde D1 refill, put it in this adapter, and then I can use any D1 refill I want with this Lamy ballpoint pen. So this works really, really well. And again, I'm not stuck with Lamy proprietary ballpoint refills, which again are a little expensive, a little hard to get, and they're okay. They're just okay. And again, you don't have as huge a variety of colors as you would have with being able to use standard D1 refills, which are really nice. Speaking of refills, good time to segue to a discussion about the Rollerball and its refills. So Lamy actually makes 2 different types of Rollerball refills, and they're really just slightly different sizes. So they make one called an M66 and an M63. What's interesting is that the M66, which is the shorter one, is pretty much the exact same size as a Pilot G2 rollerball refill. Pilot G2 is a great rollerball refill, comes in a million colors, has been around for a long time, and is, in my opinion, one of the absolute best rollerball refills. It's ubiquitous, it's inexpensive, it's great. It's everything this is not. So what's nice is if you have a pen like the Lamy Tipo, you can just put a Pilot G2 rollerball refill right in the pen, which is exactly what I've done here. So this Lamy Tipo has a Pilot G2 rollerball refill in it, and you can simply unscrew the pen and put this Pilot G2 refill in it because they are basically the same size. So that works great in this Lamy Tipo rollerball. If you want to use a Pilot G2 in either a Lamy Safari or the Lamy 2000, you need to put a little bit of a spacer in because the refill will be basically 5 1/4 millimeters too short. So that's fairly simple to do. So again, that's exactly what I did here. And I have this little spacer here. Now, this spacer is made out of the push button from an old cheap plastic disposable ballpoint pen, and I cut it to size, etc. If you're going to do the spacer, keep one thing in mind. See that little hole on the end of the G2 refill? That needs to be kept open and air needs to be able to get inside. Otherwise, the ink will not flow properly. So you need something that has a hole in it like this. Don't be tempted to use like a chunk of rubber eraser, which theoretically would work great, except it's going to impede the airflow and eventually the pen won't flow properly. So you need basically something that's round, about this same diameter, and with a hole in it like this has. So if you, again, I had an old cheap ballpoint pen, cut the push button down, and this worked perfectly, but I'm sure you can find something around the house that'll work. When you're putting it in, I found the easiest way of putting it in is actually just to sort of balance it on the end to make sure it's centered properly. Whoop, is just, like I said, is just balance it on the end to make sure it's centered properly, and then sort of lower the end cap on top of it to make sure everything's all lined up, and then it'll go in quite nicely. Again, 5 1/4 millimeters is the size that you want it to be, and again, it works great. And that's and then you're not constrained to using these Lamy refills anymore. You can use a Pilot G2 refill, which you can pretty much find anywhere. If you're wondering what an actual Pilot G2 pen looks like, this is what an actual bona fide Pilot G2 pen looks like, which is the pen that this refill is designed to go in. But again, you can put it in other pens as well. Like again, this Lamy Tipo, for example, it just goes right in and works fine. For the Safari, it's the exact same procedure as on the Lamy 2000. You just use the exact same spacer, same length, same everything, and it will work just fine. So that is the Rollerball, the fountain pen, the Multipen, the mechanical pencil, and the ballpoint. So this is sort of all in the family for the Lamy 2000. I'm quite sure you want to see how these pens write, and I'm going to show you that right now. All right, in no particular order. So this is the Lamy 2000 ballpoint. But this has in it a Monteverde D1 refill. That's just an old school oil-based ballpoint. Nothing fancy about it. No gel, no anything like that. It's just old-fashioned ballpoint. We'll segue from the ballpoint to the Multipen. We'll do it in green. How's that sound? So this is the Lamy 2000 Multipen. And this does have the Lamy D1 refill. Again, old school oil-based ballpoint, nothing fancy there at all, but writes pretty nicely. We can now go on to the pencil. So this is the Lamy 2000 mechanical pencil. And this has 0.7 millimeter lead. I do not know what type of lead this is. This is just the one that came with the pen. It seems to be a softer kind of lead, but again, don't know for sure. Now we can do the, let's do the fountain pen. So this is the Lamy 2000 fountain pen. And this has a 14 karat nib in extra fine. And this ink is Lamy Blue Black. All right, that is the fountain pen. And last but not least is the rollerball. So this is the Lamy 2000 rollerball. But this does have in it a Pilot G2 roller gel refill. So again, I really like. I mean, it comes in lots and lots of different colors. So for example, there's this shade of blue, which I really like. I forgot what Pilot actually calls that, but it's really nice. Now here's also a this is in the Lamy Tipo, so this is also a Pilot G2 roller gel refill. And this is obviously in a more of a royal blue kind of thing. So it's available in lots of different shades, and it's just really nice. If you want to just see one more that I have handy. So this is the Lamy Safari, which also has a Pilot G2 roller gel refill. So as you can see, I'm a big fan of these refills. Again, available in lots of really nice, really pretty colors. They write well. They're super inexpensive, and I like them quite a bit. Anyway, so that's that for that. That is our Lamy 2000 family, if you will. I'm very pleased with each and every one of these. I think it's nice having the family all together. And like I said, I'm happy with the way all of these write. Speaking of being happy, one thing that would make me really happy is if all of you folks could please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would just be fantastic. Well, I think that just about does it for this video for today. As always, I thank you so much for watching. Until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye-bye.